Nelson.
I'm Jeffrey.
And I'm Glowacki.
We're the fucking Morning Throners. Alright, everybody, welcome back to another episode of Morning Throners Podcast. If you're just a show watcher right now, you don't know what to do with your life because there's nothing for you to do. But this past Sunday, the Sunday after the Season 8 premiere, you were given the Last Watch documentary. So there was something to just kind of feed your addiction, and we're here to talk about it. So here's Nelson and Glow.
Actually makes you feel some emotion after that letdown of Season 8. Just kidding. Again, our last episode, we talked about our thoughts on the overall season, so if that's what you want, go check out our last episode. This one we're going to be just pretty short, going to talk about what we thought about the documentary, and then going forward, we're going to start covering the books. We're going to start with 3 short stories by George R. R. Martin. The collection is called The Night of the Seven Kingdoms. The first one is called The Hedge Knight. Definitely check it out if you haven't. It's great on Audible. The guy who reads it is actually the guy who plays Viserys in the first show, gets the Golden Crown.
How about that?
And while he seems like an asshole, he's actually pretty good at reading the audiobook. So check that out if you don't want to read it.
He has a very mystical voice, I'm sure.
He's pretty good at doing different voices, too. And there's not as many as there's not as many voices as in Game of Thrones. That guy is talented for all the voices he does, but he definitely does a good job of distinguishing them. But if you decide to read it, it's only like a 2-hour read. It's like the length of a movie. And I think A Hedge Knight is, I told these guys in between podcasts, I think it's probably my favorite story, movie, TV show, book. Just has a great story, hands down. I think it's the only book I've ever teared up for.
And here's another reminder: is that we're always on Spotify. It doesn't really matter that we're the first on Spotify anymore, but we are on Spotify and also on YouTube if you don't have that app.
Yep. So we're gonna do. So just coming forward from us after this one, we're gonna start covering the books. We're gonna start with those 3 because we think a lot of people who, kind of like Jeff said, are show watchers, are out of stuff to do, and they want a little more Game of Thrones. That's a great way to get into the books, is check out those short stories. And then after that, we're going to roll right on in and start going chapter by chapter through A Song of Fire and Ice. We'll be joined by another friend of mine, Kyle, who has never seen the show or read the book. So we have somebody coming in completely blind. So, I mean, again, I'm not sure
Which
what he
has
knows.
to be a unique situation, too.
He
unique.
might know some weird spoiler. Like, he's probably heard Red Wedding, but I doubt he knows exactly what the Red Wedding entails, right? So,
or when and who and everything like that.
Yeah. It's going to be a challenge, and I have a feeling Glow is going to spoil a lot of stuff for Kyle, probably by accident, just letting stuff slip.
Oh, 100%. That's why I feel bad.
Glow's just not going to say anything for the rest of our podcast series.
I already feel bad, guys. I already feel bad.
All right, so
Ned dies. God damn it!
Episode 1. All right, welcome, Kyle. We're going to talk about the prologue. Ned dies. Red Wedding. All of it. All right, yep. So that's what to expect going forward from us. But let's just get right into The Last Watch. What do you guys think overall? Thoughts?
I thought it was cool getting to see the point of view from all the bystanders. It wasn't really any view of the big name characters. It was all the little guys, like the person blowing the snow on the set, or the person feeding the actors and the extras and all that. Yeah. So it was cool getting their point of view on this whole huge system going on around them.
Yeah. It kind of made me feel bad because how many people put so much work into this show, right? I just imagine, I go to work for a week, right? And if somebody were to come to me and be like, hey, all this shit you did, that was trash. Or we didn't like it. Yeah. It would be crushing, right? And these people have been doing this for 2 years, and now all of us, the fans, are like, oh, Season 8 sucked, blah, blah, blah. Okay, Season 8 sucked, but I'm putting that 100% on David and Dan.
It's
all
really
the crew,
fucked up.
If you are on the crew and you're listening to this podcast by any chance, I love you.
You guys did great.
You guys did awesome.
They did
the
do
snow
a good
guy,
job.
the makeup guy,
They did
all of them.
They did more than anybody could have asked. You know what I mean?
And the one lady even says, I think what Season 8 of Game of Thrones proves more than anything is this is the limit.
Yeah.
We have hit, to get real nerdy, we've reached the asymptote, right? This is as far as a show can take it.
It's the nerdiest thing you've said on this podcast right now.
Asymptote. Go Google that one, kids, if you don't know what that is. It's just as close as you can't do more. She's like, there's literally, it's impossible. You can't ask for more, you can't get more people, throwing more money, more people, you just need more time. That's the only way you can make a show like this, is just with more time.
Yeah.
And I think that's one of the main things it proved. And
Which,
that
when I think
That's why
about
the quality
how,
went down.
which I'm curious to why HBO rushed it. You know, who was the one that decided that the last 2 seasons had to be 13 episodes in total?
David and Dan, we found out that HBO offered them more, and they said no.
So at that point, when do you say we need to bring in another writer? You know what I mean? To do it justice.
I mean, the whole thing is, though, when they made this deal with George R. R. Martin that they were going to adapt his books, they said 5 seasons, right? Nobody wants it. Like, again, I can't see.
Imagine the show being done in 5 seasons.
Yeah,
No.
crazy. I'm glad they gave it more, but I'm just saying, I can't imagine being in their situation, right? Because I love Game of Thrones so much. But David and Dan, you have to assume like they have a career. They don't want to just do Game of Thrones for the rest of their life.
I mean, they wouldn't have. They could, but they turned down the prequels and whatnot. I guess.
Exactly. They wanted to move on to something else, and I can't blame them for that. But I think Game of Thrones.
Imagine them.
Got the short end of the stick.
But imagine them writing the prequels with nothing to base it off of, and just probably at this point an unlimited budget. Yeah. Whoever's doing the prequel is going to get a fuck ton of money, and hopefully that doesn't.
Yeah.
Fuck
or
it
if
up.
you just wait, and when they agree to finally make Game of Thrones, because the way it came out, they made season 1, then Dance with Dragons came out, then they made the rest of the show. No books have come out since. Imagine if when they make that deal with George, they're like, hey, when your books are done, we're going to adapt all of them, but we're not going to start until your books are done. They just kept it hush hush. Everybody's like, it's a cash grab now. You'll make just as much money, if not more, later than now. Right? That would have been the best way to handle it, probably. When they ran out of material, that's when it started getting bad. But let's get into the documentary itself. Okay. Basically, it followed a few, like Lo said, a few not main characters, but like in the documentary,
major people that helped the whole thing flow pretty much. I think one of the cooler characters, I know, Nelson, I'm not going to say your favorite, was Nutter's assistant.
Yeah, the guy who has the almond guy.
Yeah.
He was just as weird as Nutter.
Yeah, super weird. Ridiculous job.
Yeah.
I can't relate to people, like, I feel like even, and it's easy to say this, me being a bum sitting here on my couch, like, my $50 couch watching Game of Thrones, and David Nutter being a billionaire director, but I can't ever see myself being okay having another human, like, fetch me almonds. You know, like, oh, go get me almonds while I do my job, you peasant, you know?
Dude,
and he doesn't say that, but how can you ever say, like, oh yeah, get the almonds, and then, like, the special herb tea or whatever he says?
Yeah, it was something weird.
It's super weird.
I'm sure that guy's making enough money.
Was it Humaka or something like that?
Oh yeah, no, I would be that guy. 100% I would be that guy.
Right.
But I don't think I could. It would be way easier for me to be that guy fetching almonds than commanding
no way.
To
when you're Nutter and you know that guy's just literally probably getting his shot in his career, that guy probably doesn't want to be an almond fetcher his whole life. He wants to be a director at some point.
I don't know.
You know what I mean? Or
I don't think almond fetching looks good on any resume.
No,
he's Jon
the thing's
Snow
gonna
when
be
he was the Lord Commander's squire or whatever it was.
Dude, I don't think it relates.
The thing is going to be is Nutter's going to be like, oh no,
he's fetching
dude.
chamber pots.
He's Nutter's squire. This guy's basically Nutter's squire.
Right, and he'll become a knight one day, and then he'll be the man.
Also, David Nutter is a great name.
David Nutter.
It's a great name, Dave Nut.
Dave
Nutter!
all the time.
I can just like imagine him walking around a college campus. You Nutter! What's up?
How many jokes he had to deal with in fucking
countless,
elementary
especially if he
school.
waddled like that when
yeah, a little fucking penguin walk. All right,
there's a part where he says he wanted to be. Yeah, so he's actually probably the mainest, like most important person that there's a pretty good focus on. But I like it because he's like old school style, right? He's the only one who was allowed to have a paper script.
I love that he wrote everything out.
Every single scene on that yellow paper.
That was unbelievable.
With just stick figures.
Unbelievable.
Awesome, though. Awesome.
And unbelievable that somebody had, I think it was the production manager then, had to take those drawings and writings and create what was episode 1, 2, and 4.
Yeah, there's got to be a step that I'm missing. I don't know anything about filmmaking, but there's a disconnect between David Nutter's papers and what I see on TV. Is there, like... I get that there's like a lighting department and there's a props department, but David Nutter can't be the one that is meeting with the head of all those departments, right? He's just in charge of directing actors. What is the person who makes sure that everything comes to, like, Who is that?
Production.
That's him.
I think it was that.
Yeah, him and the producer.
I think
they
it was
gotta make sure that all the
I think that
setup's right.
lady, the production manager. I'm not sure what her name was.
The location manager you're talking about?
No,
The one who's always cursing at the truckers.
She's great.
No,
She is great too.
So maybe I don't
The
think
one
so.
at the end who says, "I don't know if the actors would even know my name, and that's fine with me." I think she's the set designer. She's the one who builds.
She built
King's
King's
Landing.
Landing. I'm pretty
Yeah,
sure
yeah.
she was the production manager. I don't know.
I don't think so because she wasn't even on set when they were shooting. She built it and then got out. I think she was like the set designer.
Maybe I'm mixing two girls then, but
Okay. Well, so let's talk about. Let's go character person by person. Let's go one of my favorites. Well, I'm gonna leave my favorite to the end.
okay.
Well, I'm gonna go with my second favorite up front to bookend them. The snow guy.
Yeah, he was great.
Yeah,
Awesome.
he was funny. He was funny.
Jeff, I don't know if you caught it, but there's a part where he says he didn't have a mom and dad and was like raised in group homes.
No, I saw it. He
And when
got
he was
out
16, they basically just like kicked him out
of. They
with
said,
300
"Yeah,
quid.
go find yourself."
And he is so proud of being a snowman, and he's like he hates wasting the fake snow, even though it's just crushed up paper and water. There's a part where he asks a guy for a paper towel, and he's like, only one, don't waste them. And the guy gives him like 3
Yeah.
sections, and then he like looks at the guy. I'm like, dude, it's a paper towel. I rip paper towels out of the roll. I don't think I'd ever take less than 5 sheets at once.
No,
And this guy,
it's
I just
crazy
really
what-
respect people who are like that.
you think he's probably pretty well off now too, just being snow guy for Game of Thrones. I'm sure he made a good salary
There's a lot
To
of
come
snow
up-
in Game of Thrones.
to come up from nothing and to be that guy. I mean, that's a lot of importance. It's also crazy that it's only paper and water.
Yeah, I
it
did
looks-
not know that.
Yeah.
Holy shit.
How did the water? What happens when the water evaporates or it melts from the snowy paper? I don't understand the chemical process behind that fake snow.
What do you mean? It's just like this like kind of wet.
It's just a wet
beer
piece
wrapper?
of paper.
They just like rip it up real fine, yeah, and then I think that's it, man.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
That's
Sometimes
crazy.
it's more simple than you think, right? But it's
So
there's
what
a
do you
couple
mean?
really good parts.
Is it all just shredded paper that is just like going through a hose that's getting wet as it's getting spit out?
I think it's kind of like a Swiffer, right? You have a Swiffer squirts water in front. I think
Yeah.
it's like that, and then like an air cannon.
and
It shoots dry snow, and it gets wet, and then falls
That's crazy.
like snow would.
And then it sticks on everything. It's phenomenal. It's
Well, I
absolutely
think that's
phenomenal.
different than what they have in the bags, because there's something else in the bags that they shovel back up.
Yeah.
I don't think they shovel back up. the
It
paper.
was funny when they did start. They were like, "Oh, guess we're not filming here. Let's shovel it back up and use it again." Like that
Yeah.
stuff was great.
Cheap little bastards.
And there's so there's 2 really good parts I like with this guy. One, they're like, "What are you gonna do if it snows?"
Take it.
And he like laughs it off. He's like, I'm gonna have a party." But then later, he's like, "I don't know what to do. It's snowing."
Yeah.
He's like, "What do I do?"
We're gonna take a
And then
holiday.
The other thing I really like is when they bring him to Spain, because it's finally where they film King's Landing, because it's finally snowing in King's Landing.
Yeah.
And he's like, "I get to come." He's like, "There was a snowflake on Jamie's hand, so that means I can put some snow some places." And he's just like walking through, like basically just like Salt Bay, the salt guy.
Yeah,
He's just like dusting snow on like the doorways of King's Landing like that. I don't know. I like that guy,
Yeah, he was a good guy.
I like the Night King actor. I don't know his name, but
dude. That guy was pretty great too.
He was pretty crazy, but he was also so like happy to be recognized. The one time he's walking in, the fans know who he is, and he's like just so happy to be recognized. He's like,
And I love
"Oh
when
my
you
god,
can
people
tell.
know me!"
I love when you can tell like the order of the way they shoot things, because there's some. I don't know if you caught it, but like he is the guy directing all the stunts. He is their
Yeah,
head
he's a
stunt
stunt guy.
coordinator.
Yeah.
That was awesome.
I knew he was a stunt guy. I didn't know he was the stunt guy for Game of Thrones.
I thought it was really cool when he talked about, you could only be a stunt guy for so long, but you could be the stunt choreographer forever.
Forever.
And then when he even went further and was like, all right, you're the stunt guy and you're the shadow behind the actor, but now I was in the main light and I was that guy, and it was just a complete...
Yeah, and that's what I'm saying. I like how you can tell kind of the order they shoot stuff, because you can shoot that. He's like, I like being the stunt choreographer. He's like, I don't need to be on screen. There's a part where he like says something along those lines. He's like, yeah, like almost like you said, I'm the shadow, and like I'm the one who's doing everything.
Yeah.
He's like, I know I'm responsible, but I don't have to be on screen. And he's like, I like that. But then there's the part where he walks up and starts like signing autographs. Like, do you know who I am? And some guy's like, again, there's no way most of the crowd knew who he was. It was like 2 or 3 guys.
He'd walk
2
right
or
down the
3
street
guys
and I
go
had
like
no
the
idea.
Night King, And then everybody else is like, oh yeah, he does look like the Night King, and then starts cheering. And he just like, yes, like they know
walks
me.
away and raises his arms.
Yeah,
oh, sweet.
Yeah, I mean that has to be an awesome moment, right? Like we can all, we can't like relate, like be in those shoes, but like you can kind of imagine what that would be like, just like walking up to a crowd. So that guy's sweet. I think one of the really good things that this doc pointed out was like the sacrifices that some people had to make. The lady who was the makeup lady, how she would like FaceTime her daughter and like hadn't seen her daughter so long when she was working those night shoots.
And how about she was married to
with the other guy,
with the guy on set.
Was he costume or something like that? I forget what he was.
Yeah, whatever it was. They were both away from their kids.
Which guy was it?
I forget, they pointed him out. I forget what exactly he did.
I think they both were costume people. I think
she was the head makeup person.
She was makeup. I think he
might have been costumes, because I remember when the whites were getting checked out for the crypt scene.
The crypt ones? Yeah.
They were both there like, oh my god, is Benioff and whatever the fucking other guy's name. Are they going to like it? Yeah. And she was awesome. I love just the English actors and the way they just start cursing at people. That's fucking pull the truck around, you fuck. And it's just fucking great.
The old lady was great too. She was my second favorite behind.
Yeah.
Who you're going to say.
Yeah.
Yeah. That lady's great.
But the makeup lady was good, and you do feel bad for her. I mean, you think about it.
But she gets her payoff at the end when she gets to have her daughter come on set and be one of the dead. She's just a wildling. She's just a wildling. Yeah. It would have been cool if her daughter was like what could have been the one on the wall. I mean, I know that has to be a boy because that's Ned Umber, right? But like, if she would have got to put like makeup on her daughter,
that would have been cool.
But yeah, it's still awesome. Like, just I was thinking when I saw that, I was like, man, when that girl grows up, like, imagine knowing somebody now who could be like, yeah, my dad was like the makeup person behind Star Wars.
Yeah.
You know?
Oh, it'd be unbelievable.
But not only that, yeah, my dad was the makeup person behind Star Wars, and I got to be in. I was one of the Ewoks.
Yeah. When
I was like 4, I was in the Ewok costume. This is way better than that, and say this girl grows up to be a Smoke, it's just going to be even better. It's kind of weird thinking about it because she's like probably 6
she's
now.
Like 8 years old.
But I'm just imagining like if I'm like out at a bar and a girl's like, oh yeah, the last episode of Game of Thrones, I'm one of the wildlings walking away and like has a picture. I'm like,
I already have an erection.
Yeah, exactly.
If you're any of the extras, you want to take probably you're probably trying to steal shit left and right.
Well, I think it's super. I bet you it's like
I'm sure
you can't even have your phone. Like it's like we're going into film meetings. Put your phone in the box on the way in. You know.
Yeah, but when it's all said and done, if you could have asked for, like, I don't know, the Stark jacket you were wearing. So how about those jackets they were wearing? I'll just completely forget what I was saying because I would want to steal some shit. But the jackets that the people walked around with, you can pretty much walk around life and show that you were a part of Game of Thrones.
Yeah, and that guy, the one guy even, we'll talk about him last because he's my favorite, but the one guy even says, like, when it's filming time, like, because Belfast isn't a huge town and there's so many extras, you see those jackets just, like, out and about on the streets.
Yeah.
Which is awesome.
Yeah. And I want one.
I should have moved to Belfast.
Those are sweet. I like those jackets.
Yeah, we'll get to it. So we got the lady who's cursing, and her job was, like, a shitty job, but you could tell she like took so much pride in it. She was like in charge of like making sure there was porta potties that weren't frozen, and like there was
setting up
trucks
camp,
on site.
Setting up camp for the most part, and smoking areas and
you can't have smoking near the propane tanks.
Everyone.
Yeah. Unbelievable that, and just think about how many people they had. I forget if they ever said how many extras were actually a part of it, but it's crazy.
Like, what do you do? What do you do? Like, what does she do after that?
Joe would be an extra person for, I don't know, Chernobyl or something. You know what I mean?
But like, is it automatic? Like, I guess like when a series is coming back, they're like, oh, we'll just use the same location scout and the same like location prepper as we had last year.
I'm sure they have to have some sort of contract with the actual TV
like
company.
HBO or something.
To have some security. You can't just have. I'm sure they also have a phenomenal reputation now in the workforce to just keep rolling.
Because the actors always joke and they're like, oh, I hope I'm not dead because then I'm going to have to find a new job next year.
Yeah.
And like that's funny because the actors are super rich, right? So it's like, you're rich. Yeah. But when it's like a set person, I'm like, that could actually suck. If you're the guy who blows snow on the TV show and next year they're like, for the makeup person, the one person asked the makeup lady, like, did you have to come pitch to Game of Thrones, or did they come and get you?
Yeah.
And she's like, it was kind of mutual. So, like, after this is over, think about how much money that makeup company makes from probably 90% of their profits come from the work they do for Game of Thrones.
They're going to take a huge break.
Yeah. So, like, that kind of... they don't really point that stuff out, but that's the kind of stuff I'm always thinking about behind these scenes.
Yeah.
Like, what's their next job? How are they going to keep making money? Like,
yeah.
And then how about that they had to go to a food truck between scenes? Like,
some of that food was looking good.
It did look good, but
the food truck lady, I think she said that one day she just, like, happened when, like, there was a downtime. She happened to make a sandwich for herself. That was, like, kind of complicated.
Yeah.
It was, like, turkey and chicken and bacon, like, a bunch of shit.
Yeah.
And somebody was like, oh, what's that? I want one of those. Then she made it, and then it just
became
spread, like,
on
wildfire.
the menu. Yeah.
Yeah, so now she has to make this complicated sandwich all the time in the back of this food truck. There was a scene, too. It was really great. It was a really quick cut when they're going, like, showing the food thing, then, like, something else, like, just all the stuff that the lady's preparing. But when they show the food thing, you see, who's the Lord of the Vale? Royce?
Robin Aaron?
Bronzion Royce. That actor in his, like, classic gold, like, brown belly armor is, like, sitting right outside the food truck
Yeah.
in, like, full costume.
Yeah.
I love that. And you'll see, like, I love when you see, like, they show the crypt White Walkers, like, eating lunch. And they, like, had to eat, like, really carefully with their mouth wide open so they didn't, like,
they got, like, fake teeth
makeup.
hanging and shit.
Yeah.
I think it was cool when all the extras were waiting and they're just, like, sitting there reading and all their makeup and...
Yeah. Just seeing, like, zombies...
All the behind-the-scenes shit is just really sweet.
Yeah. So, any more major characters, like, people in this documentary we should hit? I can't really think of anybody else. There was a lot of short one-offs, besides my favorite guy, obviously. The one thing that we got to talk about, besides characters, is the table read.
Table read, yeah.
So, I honestly think the table read is the only reason I watched this documentary.
So, I didn't even realize this documentary came out until you called me. And we're like, yo, the doc's out. Have you watched it yet? And I was like, no. And you're like, okay, well, you got to look at least Jon Snow's table
let
read.
me preface why I wanted to watch this at all. So, I keep getting notifications on my phone about people reacting to Season 8, and then actors and actresses saying how they felt about it. So it's always like, Lena Headey is saying how she hated it, and the actor for Lord Varys is saying, and then I saw one that was Emilia Clarke. It was Emilia Clarke breaks her silence about how she feels about the Game of Thrones thing. It was all clickbait. And it was
it's all like
bullshit.
From before the series even came out, and like the clip with Jon Snow, like, oh, what's one word? And he's like, disappointing.
Yeah.
Like,
so,
that's like,
it was all clickbait, and
some of that stuff is kind of enlightening though. Like when they're like asking Amelia, like, how do you like the ending? And she was like, yeah.
Right.
It's like, well, yeah, you're dead.
So
that makes sense now.
So I'm reading this paper or article, and it was about how Dany got her script. And she was reading. She read it almost instantaneously before the table read. So she knew the whole season beforehand. And she was on a plane. She was getting on the plane to go back to Belfast for the table read, or whatever the table read was. And she had to sit next to Kit Harington. So they're right next to each other. And
on the flight.
On the flight to the table read. And Kit Harington doesn't read the script before the table read. He wants to be in the moment with everybody. So now, she's sitting next to him, knowing that he's gonna kill her, and he's just like, oh, blah blah blah, like small talking it, and Amelia's like, oh my god, you're gonna kill me, and you don't know yet. And then when you have that moment at the table read, it's just phenomenal. And
hold on, real quick.
I'm not gonna. I wasn't gonna go much farther than that.
Before we go to the table read, you reminded me of something that I want to go back to real quick. There's like a part of this where it's the scene where Dany and Jon are like kissing, and then Drogon roars, and it's part of the David Nutter thing. If you're like, how many times did Kit Harington purposely like look too early so he got to redo that?
Yeah.
Right. If it's me, I'm coming back tomorrow. We're doing reshoots on that scene because I kept fucking it up so bad. Fucking it up.
Emilia Clarke is such a cool human being.
She's so awesome.
I've literally watched every interview of her, whether it's a late night show or... I think she's just the coolest person ever. And that's kind of why I wanted Dany to win, just because I think Emilia Clarke is so fucking cool that I just want to watch her more. You know what I mean? That's why when she was in Star Wars, I was pumped. And I can't wait for... I guess she's in Terminator. I might watch my first Terminator film ever just because Emilia Clarke's in it.
I mean, it's not just Emilia Clarke either. Like, Game of Thrones definitely is making money for other shit, right? Like, I bet you a lot of people saw Aquaman just because of Khal Drogo, right? Jamie Lannister, that actor's in a new movie. I don't know if you guys have seen the trailers for it, but it looks okay. But I want to see it because Jamie Lannister's in it.
Rob Stark's in a new series coming out, and I literally was like, "That's Rob Stark."
That's
and
my king.
like,
I gotta watch that.
What's that show? Isn't
Rob
it like
Madden or something like that? And I was like, okay, cool. That's Rob Stark. I have no idea what it's called. I have no idea, but I know Rob Stark is in a new TV show, and I might watch it because he was pretty cool.
Yeah.
Jamie Lannister was in that one shit movie about like Egyptian gods too. I remember that. I forget. And then Kit Harington was in Pompeii. Another shit movie.
All right, so last character I want to talk about, unless you guys... Oh, wait, let's get to the table read. I jumped away for Amelia and John. Table read, John's reaction, glow as a John guy, or Kit Harington's reaction, glow as a John guy. What do you think? Did you like that part of the show? When that happened in the show, what was your reaction? What was your reaction?
I really thought it was a great scene. I mean, I thought both actors did great in it. And it's a total Jon Snow move, like putting duty before love. Even though he didn't do it he kind of did it with Ygritte too. So, but I thought it was great. And then the way Kit Harington reacts is just, I mean, he's become Jon Snow, and that's why he's so torn apart.
Yeah, it's all. I mean, he had the same reaction. Basically, we all did. Is what I thought. Like, he reacted kind of exactly like we thought. The other thing, they didn't show much of the table read. The one thing that I really liked was as they were showing the table read, they did a cut back to the episode 1.
Yeah.
Season 1 table read.
Yeah.
Oh,
Arya
that was
is
great.
so
oh my god.
tiny.
I literally stopped watching it, rewind it, and then showed my girlfriend, look at baby Arya. She's probably the most...
You know what I was thinking of? Is I think she's in... Again, if I remember... I'm picturing it in my head. If I'm remembering that season 1 table read right, she's sitting right next to Nikolai Coster-Waldau, Jamie Lannister.
Yeah.
Who also looks so young.
But then I'm thinking to myself, in season 1, Jamie probably is in like the one scene with Jon in episode 1, right, where he sees him. The fucking Cersei scene. The Ned coming into the King's Landing scene. Him attacking Ned at King's Landing scene.
He's not in season 1 much, yeah.
He's in like 5 scenes in season 1. Arya, so imagine that. You're at a table read. You're, how old was she? 9? I'm pretty sure she was
11.
Oh, she was 11 when she started, right? You're an 11-year-old girl sitting next to a full-grown actor. And Arya probably had maybe the most speaking parts, like, besides, like, Ned.
And she looked calm, cool, and collected. Like,
she looked like, when are we going to start? I would have been shitting myself.
Yeah. I've actually watched...
Especially Sean Bean's there.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, Sean Bean is
there.
Like,
there's no way she
why
doesn't
is Sean
know
Bean
him?
at this reading right now? I was like, oh, it's the first one.
Yeah, and there's no way she doesn't know him.
Yeah.
Like, there's other, like, not super high profile, right, in the first season, but there's some
Lena
high profile actors.
Been in some pretty big productions.
Yeah.
So I actually watched the video of Maisie Williams and Sophie Turner and how they became so close friends and how...
Yeah, their tattoos.
Yeah, so it was even talking about how they were brought up and that Sophie Turner came from this really pretty much rich family and was able to do everything she wanted to do, and she wanted to be she was doing ballet and acting, and she was really tall and beautiful, so like ballet would have been perfect for her, but she wanted to act. And then Maisie Williams was a short little girl who was with a single mom and had nothing pretty much and wanted to be a ballerina in the worst way ever, but she just wasn't tall enough and she didn't have the lines and whatnot, so she became an actor, and then they both kind of intertwined in this story and they became best friends. And I think Sophie Turner's so much cooler than Sansa, but Arya and Maisie Williams are just like a perfect match. Like, they were just perfect for each other.
And, like, based on that, I didn't know their backgrounds, but based on that, they're kind of, neither of them are acting, right, too much. And, like, right. Sansa's playing a spoiled brat, she kind of, or Sophie's playing a spoiled brat, because Sansa's is, and maybe Sophie was a little bit. Arya's playing kind of like the, not neglected one, but not as...
Had to fight for everything she did.
Had to fight, had to scrap. Yeah.
I really like their friendship. I really like both of them individually. I think when they get together and I watch an interview, it's tough. Like, there's certain people that I know when they get together that, like, I'm like, okay, I can't really take you guys for too long, right? I think if I had to be in a room with the two of them, it would get old quick. Just something about Sophie. She's like kind of one of the obnoxious types of girls. Either one of them, I feel like by themselves I could chill with, but they kind of feed off each other's energy, and Sophie's a little too extra for me. I don't know if that's the right word for it, but I feel like Sophie's really extra.
I think if me and you partnered up right now and challenged them to beer pong, we could go for like a 15-game series. They'd be cool as shit. They'd be cool.
Everything I just said, I'd totally be cool.
They would definitely be fun.
Let's try and make that happen. Everybody...
Do you see that video with Sophie Turner throwing the weed pen aside? Like, she's getting makeup done. She has a weed pen on her lap.
I saw a video of her jeweling.
Yeah, I saw the jewel too, but she has like a weed pen at one point.
At the Dragon Pit, and yeah.
Yeah, and I saw a picture of John jeweling in the Last Watch documentary.
What a waste of Jewel.
Oh, I didn't see that.
The Jewel people.
But yeah, so the thing that I liked best of the table read was Varys.
Oh my god.
He got so mad, dude.
Conwell Hill's react. I think his name Conwell Hill.
Wealth or something like that. Yeah.
That must have been his first read through too, right?
No, and I think he knew. I
don't know, dude. He threw his.
He was pissed. Yeah. I don't think he knew.
I think it was really cool.
Because I think when most people die, they probably keep reading, especially if you die in episode 5, at the very beginning of episode 5. He didn't even read to see how the end of it. He was just like, I'm done. Fuck this.
That's why I think he already knew that he was dying. It was pretty upset about it, and he might have kept writing or reading. I don't know, because I watched the table read twice. I rewinded and watched that part again. Yeah. There's a part earlier when the narrator is like, it's not at the very beginning, but when they're going, and I was looking at the actor for Varys. He's not reading his script. He's holding one page. I'm assuming he knows like what the first line of the next page is, and he's like flipping along. But instead of like focusing on reading, he's just like listening and like watching everybody, and he seems really into it. Yeah.
And I feel like if he knew, he kind of would have been pissed the whole way through.
Yeah. I mean, so I know a lot about the table readings. A lot of just from reading extra shit was that some characters just read what their character does, and then other people read everything to know the whole story, and then some of them don't read anything at all. I could see him kind of maybe being a person who just read his character and then waited for it all to come in. We really don't know.
Yeah, we don't know, but
you could definitely tell that he was pissed, and I thought it was weird because Dan and Dave were there at the table read, right?
It's always tough to tell the way they shoot it, right? Because they showed him getting mad, and then they showed David Nutter right away, like almost like looking at him, like
to see how he reacted. Yeah,
but there's no way those were back to back because there's probably only one camera for the documentary in that room, right? So they filmed the Varys, and then what? They really quick went to David Nutter? No, that's probably a totally different thing. They just pieced it to make it look like that.
Right.
Yeah, I agree with that.
But I thought it was very interesting how Lena held him on the arm, and Amelia looked at him like, oh my god, how's he going to react?
But he looked like he wanted nothing to do with Amelia. He like gave her like the, okay, I see what you're doing nod, but I don't want
it's not Amelia's fault.
I know, I think that's what his nod was. Like, I get it. You don't have to be sorry. It's these fucks over here who did this, who ruined it.
Right. So I think that's kind of where you get the actors first, the writers, directors, everything.
And it's crazy that, and I guess, what are you going to do at that point? Like, be a bad actor to spite them? But Varys did awesome this season. I think he was great.
Like, he was phenomenal.
Even that scene, he acted the shit out of that scene. He acted
phenomenal until he died.
Like, you would think
Is he dating Brienne in real life? Because he had his arm
No, she's married. She's married.
You were just like the celebrity gossip guy. We could start like an E-News for Game of Thrones celebrity gossip with Jeff.
A lot of them are married.
You're digging yourself into a hole. You just call out which actresses are hot and which ones are married. You have the lowdown. You are ready.
Yeah, someone's got to be there.
All right. So the last part that we're going to talk about, my favorite
hold on. Brandon's taller than her husband, too, if you were wondering.
Obviously. She's probably taller than I am. I'm 6'5".
I mean, yeah, that's how I was figuring.
Yeah. Last part of the documentary, and he is my... Again, I'm not good with like the new kids terms, and I don't think this works because he's not an animal, but he's my spirit animal.
Wait, time out. How much do you really want to save this for last? Because I want to talk about a couple things before this.
We can do that, but let's make them quick. We're going longer than I think.
All right. Just talk about how the writing kind of... You could tell from the beginning of the documentary that when the writing came out and the producers all had that, and it was all about the CGI and the special effects, that it wasn't about the characters and their storylines anymore. It was about how cool they could make this shit happen.
Well, I don't think it's their job, right? I think if the writing's good, I don't think like the makeup designers and the costume people and the set designers should have to worry about that. If it's written well, it will be written well, and there won't be plot holes, and you can still do your best. I don't think it was like they were like, okay, because this is shit, we need to do this extra. I think they would have done super over-the-top battles and everything. Like, you know what I mean? Like, say that the Dothraki charge isn't in the script. Battle of Winterfell is still awesome. Say Jon fights King,
I'm not
the
saying,
Night King.
I'm not
Everything
saying
else
that
is the same.
The Dothraki charge doesn't happen, but that they had to spend so much time building sets and worrying about how Drogon was going to blow up everything that they took their attention away from what mattered from the story to make sure that they could pull off all the effects.
You mean in the writing itself?
In the writing itself,
David and Dan leaned heavy.
I
on
think they were like, all right, let's chill on the interactions and the dialogue, and let's focus on more about how we can make Drogon look like an awesome dragon, and how are we gonna write? Because they had to write. I mean, of course they had to build the sets, but they had to write what the sets looked like and how shit was blowing up. I think they paid more attention to how the effects of the scene was going to actually happen than more of the character development.
Than catching the loopholes and character.
Yeah, they weren't paying attention to that stuff. They were more paying attention to, all right, we need this to happen. This is what we want to happen.
Yeah.
All right, buddy over there, you're pyrotechnic guy. How is this going to happen? And how can we make it all work? I think that's what their energy was more.
I think you're right. And there's the one line in this, I think we talked about in the last podcast, that kind of points that out. Season 3, which was the longest episode, or episode 3, which was the longest episode, I think, had 4 dialogue moments.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I mean, but there's still a big script for episode 3, right? And what does it just say?
Yeah,
like,
they still
Drogon
wrote everything
over,
happened.
Then Rhaegal fights. You're right. It's just all they're writing action instead of...
They're writing the action of it.
Yeah, I agree. I think you're right.
They had to write the scene where Jon and the Night King rose the undead. That's all written down, but nothing is said there at all.
No words.
It's crazy to me that I don't know, and I feel like that's where they lost themselves to the fans of Game of Thrones.
Yeah, because definitely some fans of Game of Thrones are there for the ice zombies and the dragons and love this. I'm sure there's the really casual fans love this. I think if you think about what happens at all, that's when you start getting into issues.
Yeah.
All right, do you have anything else?
That's all I have to say about the documentary.
One more thing that I just remembered real quick. There were some really cool music moments. When they got into the Battle of Winterfell, there was like a whatever. I don't even know what genre that song is. It was like...
Oh, that was a weird song.
I like that.
I know what you're talking
it was like
about.
giving me goosebumps. And I think there was another song moment towards the end that was like more...
it was Jon and Dany in the last scene. They kept talking. It was a song about like giving them the ring and stuff like that.
Oh, yeah.
Had a lot of like marriage ties to it, and they weren't
all right,
married.
So the main star of this documentary, as far as I'm concerned, did you guys get the same thing out of it? Maybe just because it kind of ended on him, but I was getting this that my boy Andrew McClay, my spirit animal, he's what is I don't know. I feel like that's what all the Game of Thrones fans are like. That's what I would be like. There's the part.
Yeah, if I got that chance to be in Game of Thrones, I would be full in on it, wholehearted.
Yeah, I would do it if I could
100%.
fit it into my schedule. I would do it without getting paid. I don't know what they get paid, but I would do it for free if I could do it.
I'm sure at some point they were telling people like, show up and you can be a soldier.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
But I don't think, like, he was different, though. He actually, not like that he had lines or anything, but he had places to stand.
Yeah.
Blocking.
He was
right?
on.
They call that blocking?
He also said that when he was on camera, he didn't know he was going to be in the Battle of the Bastards, and he was just, like, full frontal in the Battle of the Bastards.
Yeah, so he was in...
Well, no, I mean...
But he said he didn't even know he was in Battle of the Bastards.
Right, that's what I'm saying. Like, he was just, like, acting hardcore.
Exactly, and that's why.
Showed on him.
That's why he's in Battle of the Bastards, because you know there's a ton of extras who are like, hey, yeah, you're in the background, and they're just standing there with their swords, like, just chilling.
But he's
always in character. Like, he's in character more than Jon Snow's in character. He's not as good of an actor, but he's always going. And there was a cut.
That guy that he put on screen. That's him.
And he gets that cut at the end in season 8 when they're going by Grey Worm, because he's like like the only one who's like really into it, looking concerned.
Yeah.
That guy just gets me fired up. There's a part I think, and again, it's hard to tell because they can cut stuff together to make it look different. But it's after they're like talking to the food truck people, and the food truck lady's like, "What? We've been here 15 weeks?" And I was like, "No, we've only been here 9." And then the one lady's like, "Oh, how many more days do we have?" And it kind of goes into how long we've been here. Then it cuts back to my boy Andrew McClay, and the guy's like, "Okay, guys," and it's like during the night battles, the night shoots. They're like, "All right, guys, we're gonna have a lot of running today. You got to go over there." And then it's the part where I think he's actually playing a white, right? Because they just threw people in Winterfell clothes as whites.
Yeah.
And like he's like walking forward. He's like, I could do this like without arms. Like, should I pretend I don't have arms? And then the one guy's like, he's like, man, this is a long day. He's like, yeah, but this is fun. I could do this. I could do this forever. Like, it's like probably 2 a.m. freezing cold. Everyone like Kit Harington and Amelia Clark like, get me the fuck out of here. This guy's like, yeah, I'm in full leather. Probably weighs like 50 pounds. He's just freaking hyped to be out there. Yeah. Being a soldier, and I feel like that's exactly again.
I mean, that's
who
probably
knows? Maybe after
true.
15
I think
weeks.
that guy said that he was he read the books. He was all in, man. He's a fan.
He read the books
he was
beforehand.
a fucking fan, and just imagine if you had that. If you're standing next to Jon Snow, imagine being that guy, like holding a fake sword. I mean, it just gets me jacked up to think about being that person.
Yeah,
it'd be awesome.
Oh my god, it'd be amazing.
It'd be so great.
It's
yeah,
literally
and he
living a dream. You're working next to Jon Snow. You're in a show. Like, you are that character.
Yeah. And I've heard of people, they film like Law Abiding Citizen in Philadelphia. I've had like family friends that were extras in that, and they just kind of like walk by and
Did they film some shit at our school?
Yeah, they filmed How to Get Away with Murder at our school, and you really don't see anybody there, but you know that there. That guy was like. He almost makes it look like he was an Umber or a Karstark or somebody that mattered in that fight. Because
I saw a meme. Yeah, I saw a meme of all the scenes where you can tell he's in. There's like 8 of them. He's in Battle. I think he's in Battle of Blackwater because when he first joined, his beard wasn't as big, so he had to play a Stannis supporter instead of a Northman because Northmen need bigger beards.
Did he say that Stannis was his favorite character too?
I think he was a big Jon Snow guy.
It was the other guy. Yeah,
somebody
guy
said that there was
his
favorite.
Yeah, I think he was like the guy letting people in gates. Yeah.
But it was the guy letting gates. That's right.
Yes, he said he wanted the Night King. He knows how it goes. But yeah, so my boy Andrew McClay, he's been with him for the whole time, and it's funny because you know this guy. Again, like I said, we all think that 15 weeks into of night shoots, of not seeing anybody, not going out at all, literally doing nothing but shooting in like third shift, we think we'd still be gone. None of us would, right? It's like when you first get to camp, like football camp, you're like, yeah, this is gonna be awesome. Well, end of the first week, you're like, okay, I'm sore, I'm tired. Let's just let's get back to normal practice now. Yeah. That's how I feel like we would be at night shoots. Not this guy. This guy's ready the whole way through, and everybody on set knows. Yeah. Right? The documentary crew doesn't know to go to him. They're like talking to a makeup person, and they're like, "Oh, you need to meet Andrew McClay."
Yeah, this guy loves Game of Thrones.
They're like, "You're making a doc. You need to meet this guy." Yeah. And he immediately one of the first things he's geeked up about is his jacket, quarter zip or whatever, full zip.
Full zip, definitely full zip. That's a winter jacket right there with the Stark. Direwolf on the back, sewed in.
So it has
Dragon.
a logo.
How about Dragon Unit? And then I saw later on, Kit Harington is Dragon Unit too. So what the fuck is Dragon Unit?
This is something they talked about before. They always have, because there's so many scenes they shoot in so many locations. They have, like, maybe not season 8, but in all the previous seasons, every episode is directed by a different director. Yeah. Because they have a schedule where one director will be directing in Morocco, right? And then another one will be in Iceland for their individual, like, when they need to shoot in Morocco for this season, for this episode, and the other one shooting his Iceland shots. Yeah. And then they'll switch. So you have, like, film units. The director is the only one that isn't in a unit. But, like, everybody who films with Jon Snow, when he's in Morocco filming for all his episodes, they're there.
Dragon Unit is there.
Because they actually have 3 different film crews all going at the same time.
Yeah.
And that's how they call them, like, Dragon Unit, whatever.
We need to get some Mooring Throners Dragon Unit shirts made.
Yeah. So this guy's geeked up about these jackets, and you get that. It's, again, we made a lot of football references. We play football together. It's when you get your gear order in. You place your gear order, you go down to the office, grab your bags, go back, try it on your polos, try it on your quarter zips, try it on your bucket hats. This guy gets geeked up about the jackets. We've all been there. Kit Harington probably doesn't give a fuck. But later in the doc, this guy's like, "Oh, I got a chance. I gave Kit a jacket, like, because only the extras get them, and I gave it to Kit."
Yeah.
And he's so geeked up about it, and just like anytime that guy's on the screen, he's so happy, and he just brings a smile to my face.
I mean, he's what Game of Thrones was. That's exactly how you would be.
It's how I feel when I watch Game of Thrones. It's how that guy sees it.
Yeah, and imagine how you would be if you got to be in it. You would be unbelievable.
And there's even a part...
I'd be geeked up for all 55 days of night shoots, dude. Shit.
I know. And there's a part where he's literally at the night shoot, standing there watching, like from outside of Winterfell, watching Winterfell. There's like shit on fire, and he's standing there. He's like, man, it's gonna suck. This is gonna be the longest we've had to wait for a new season. Like once we're done shooting, like it's gonna be the longest it's in post production. He's like, it's gonna suck. He's already like, it's just like we were, like right at the end of season 7. You're like, damn. After this next episode, I don't have to wait 2 years for Game of Thrones again. That's exactly. Yeah. He just is like the average fan.
I bet that guy, he'll be in the prologue series and shit.
I hope so. I hope they bring him back. Because there's the part where they're all sitting around, and he's like, oh, I don't want to be a Bolton. He's like, get that Bolton jacket out of here. You know, just all that shit.
Why the fuck you wearing that here?
And then, and when he's doing that, he tells a story. He's talking to somebody about like why he loves being a Stark. And he's like, the direwolves. He's like, Ned Stark, revenge. And it's like, yes, exactly.
Yeah, exactly. That's what we all wanted to hear.
But my favorite part of that is he's talking to another guy who's a Night's Watch extra. He's like, Gerald here? He's like, I met Gerald, 4 years ago. And I met him and we were hanging out. We were both extras at Castle Black. And Kit Harington rides up on a horse. He's like, oh, hey, Gerald. And then they have a conversation like they're friends. Yeah. And I'm just standing there like, what? That's Kit Harington. That is Kit Harington. And then it's great because they make a callback. There's more callbacks in this documentary than there are in season 8. Yeah. Where the hell is the prince that was promised? Who knows? But this guy gets to give Jon Snow a jacket at the end. You know? Yeah. Jon Snow gets to come up and talk, and he has a conversation that he had with Gerald with this guy.
Yeah.
It is so great. And when Kit Harington gives his speech, this guy's like tearing up, and he can't really control himself because it's the same. He feels the same way as Jon Snow. And it just stuff like that. I love it. Because we all watched the interviews with, like you said, Emilia Clarke, Kit Harington, Sophie Turner, Maisie Williams. This guy cares about Game of Thrones way more than David and Dan ever will.
Oh,
way more than Kit Harington ever will. Way more than any of the actors ever will.
I don't know. Kit Harington's in a health facility right now because of how much he cared about it.
I don't know. That's why.
There might be other things, but definitely part of it. It's definitely part of it.
You know what I'm saying? This guy just put everything he had into it. Just literally loved it. This is what he loved,
and that's what it's all about. And that's why we're doing what we're doing
That's why we're doing this because we love it.
We just love it.
If anybody knows Andrew McClay from Belfast, Ireland, tell him to reach out to us on Twitter. We want to have him on an episode.
Yeah, we'll definitely have to tweet him soon.
I'll be tweeting. I was looking for his Twitter handle earlier so I could tweet him. I couldn't. And it turns out Andrew McClay is not a very uncommon
name. Makes sense.
We'll find him. He'll get word of mouth.
Yeah. All right. Well, that's all I got. You guys got anything else?
I'm good, man.
All right. Let's wrap this one
up.
I liked the Last Watch. I love docs. And
I thought it was good too. And I'm not a huge doc guy. I got a little bit bored, but I really enjoyed seeing. I enjoyed seeing the stars behind the scene. I love Emilia Clarke and Kit and their interactions not being the characters. You know?
And no matter how much you didn't like the ending, you have to, after seeing this, have a respect for the work that people put in. And again, like I said when we started, it just kind of makes me feel bad about being so down on it because
people being.
I don't hate the show. I hate the writers.
Yeah.
Yeah, the writers are what did bad. That's what I've been saying that for a while. Everything else is great. Acting, makeup, the set designs. Directing was even good. It's just that the writing fucking sucked.
All right, well, the writing for the books is a million times better than the show. So if you are interested in more Game of Thrones, check out the books and keep following us on the Morning Throners podcast.
That's where we're headed. Our watch hasn't ended. We lied to you. We're still here, motherfuckers. We're
still here. We're still coming.
But now our watch has ended and our read begins.